Good morning. Welcome to Center for Spiritual Life on this third Sunday in June, where our focus is being in balance. Also, it is Father's Day. Happy Father's Day. We have a special YouTube for Father's Day, a gift to you. Roy Martin has an original song that we've posted called Wild Country. He wrote that for his father, and we would like to share it with you in honor of Father's Day today. So be sure and click on that link so you can watch that gift. Also, the links to the special music and the opening song and the song Breathing, the contemplative song Breathing, are all on links on that email. So you can click on all of those to view the music for today. So thank you so much for being with us this morning. Being in balance is our June focus, and we will be reading this Wednesday night out of Wayne Dyer's book here, Being in Balance. A lot of great ideas in that book, so I really encourage you to click on that YouTube when I post it. That will be this coming Wednesday evening, book shorts. Other announcements here, let's see. We do have a YouTube channel. If you'd like to go back and look at any of our past YouTubes, all of the messages that I have done, I've posted and uploaded onto YouTube, and the music from David and Tamra will be on our YouTube channel. That is Center for Spiritual Life Delta. So you can visit that. And thank you so much, David and Tamra, for your beautiful music ministry, continuing to serve the center here with all of that music, posting it online. And thank you, Roy, for sharing such a special song this morning, dedicated to your father and shared for all fathers out there. Happy Father's Day. Okay, so we do have a special Core Council update, which is also on a YouTube link that probably all of you have seen. We are planning, intend to come back to in-person services starting July 5th. Same time, 10:30 in the morning. They will be outside. And before that comes, I will email you a list of guidelines that we will be following, including social distancing and staying outside, staying 6 feet apart, grouping in families. There's certain guidelines for us to be open and have in-person services. We fully intend to abide by all of the guidelines from the state and the federal guidelines and the health agencies. So we'll be coming out with that. So hopefully everybody will be informed. We'll be coming back together and we'll have some in-person services. I'm so looking forward to seeing everybody. So let us just start by reading our vision and mission together. Let me hold this up for you, and we'll start and get into that heart space and that space that we set aside this morning to dwell in. Okay, here we go. Put this up here and you can speak these words with me. This center offers a path for awakening to the realization of oneness. Open hearts, inspired life, empowered love. Our spiritual community welcomes all people to embrace oneness as the truth of our being. Together we see a world of love, peace, and abundance for all. And our mission, say this together, we recognize and realize the omnipresence of divine love as the truth of all. So here we are in our third week of studying balance, being in balance. And I've been reading this balance card from the Yogananda deck, Paragrams. And I love what he has to say about balance. He says, the material and the spiritual are but two parts of one universe and one truth. By overstressing one part or the other, man fails to achieve the balance necessary for harmonious development. Life is expressed in a threefold way: through thoughts, through desires, and through actions. Rightly guide all three forms of expression, and they will lead you to a higher state of consciousness. In your activities, you are the creator, the preserver, the transformer. Your will is the director. Practice the art of living in this world without losing your inner peace of mind. Follow the path of balance to reach the inner, wondrous garden of self-realization. Thank you, Yogananda. So, we've been studying these 4 intentions, okay? Kind of basing the whole month around these 4 intentions. And this is by Deepak Chopra, 4 Intentions for a Balanced Life. This is Deepak. He says, I think if you start every day with these 4 intentions: joyful, energetic body, loving, compassionate heart, reflective, alert mind, and lightness of being, then you allow your day to organize itself around these intentions. Therefore, seating your consciousness with these intentions is the best way to orchestrate the fulfillment of them. Okay, so the first week in June, we talked about becoming aware of the way we support wholeness in our body or our physical form with the intention of joyful, energetic body. Last week, we studied our emotional wholeness with loving, compassionate heart. And this week, we'll look at the intention reflective, alert mind. Okay. So reflective, alert mind. Here I'm contemplating my mental capacities and my mental concepts, my thoughts, my beliefs, my whole belief systems. We're in the realm of the thought energy, okay? And I'm contemplating those for the intention of purposely focusing my attention, okay, in that area of my life to create balance and bring peace to my experience. So I'm going to share some ideas today that have helped me to understand myself a little better, and over the years have helped me to journey beyond my idea of my mind be with a small m and experience my mind with a capital M, okay? There's a quote by Osho that says, the mind, a beautiful servant, a dangerous master. And as much as we talk about the monkey mind or the mind chatter, the egoic mind being negative and unhealthy, it can easily get a bad rap. And then we start putting up resistance to the mind, okay? Calling it, the mind bad, the heart good, that kind of thing. But we need the mind. It is a divine instrument through which God expresses as us. That's pretty important, right? The mind or the ego is not our enemy, but it's our partner in our journey. Better understood, when we understand the mind better, we can more wisely use it as it was intended for use, okay? It makes good sense to reflect upon our use of our minds, and in particular, our thoughts, especially when we heed the words of Jesus when he said, "It is done unto you as you believe." Abraham Hicks says, a belief is just a thought you keep thinking over and over. Okay? Ernest Holmes says, change your thinking, change your life. So I ran across this book by Hadi F. Eid, E-I-D. And the name of the book is Jesus Christ, Master of the Spiritual Science. Jesus Christ, master of the spiritual science. And he says, thought forms are our moving vehicles to transform this life. Thoughts are moving vehicles, okay? Moving energy. Hence the need to avoid planting weeds and deal with those already planted, and to provide a nurturing space for the positive thoughts to thrive and bear fruit. This is the core of the law of attraction that Jesus established and disseminated. We should remember that when we sow a thought, S-O-W, when we sow a thought, we reap an action. We sow an action, we reap a habit. We sow a habit, we reap a character. We sow a character, we reap a destiny. Then he says, when we change our thoughts, we change our beliefs and the whole world. Everything that is coming into our life is attracted by the images we are holding in our mind. Positive thinking generates motivation. The opposite is true within the negative arena. Our thoughts have wings that take them anywhere in our universe. Each one of us is a human transmission tower more powerful than any television tower created on Earth, and far different, by also being a reception station. The frequencies we emit reverberate throughout the entire universe, carrying the intonations of our thoughts. Isn't that wild? So my mind uses thought to create my experience of life, okay? And I find that an undisciplined mind can certainly create some havoc for me, especially when I allow it to go unchecked and to take the lead. I can definitely relate to having my share of negative thoughts, especially about myself, my constant doubts and fears in some form or some area of my life. It's just not peaceful, right? I want to share this blog that I found by Barbara Markway. It's called Stop Fighting Your Negative Thoughts. She says it's not bad to have negative thoughts. The problem is when we believe them. If you're like me, she says, you've read countless articles. Heck, I've probably written one and tried different techniques to get rid of those pesky negative thoughts. Those little gremlins in your mind that tell you all sorts of awful things. In the book, The Happiness Trap, author Russ Harris says 80% of everyone's thoughts contain some sort of negative content. So it's normal to have negative thoughts. It's part of our evolutionary heritage. We're constantly scanning our environment, generating negative thoughts all the while, looking for problems to fix. Gosh, that's so true, isn't it? Looking for problems to fix. The difficulty isn't that we have negative thoughts. The problem comes when we believe our thoughts are true. Dr. Harris says, consider an article written in a tabloid magazine about the latest celebrity scandal. We read the article, and we know it's likely biased. It's exaggerated or taken out of context. We typically don't believe every word in the article or think we need to take some action as a result. The thoughts in our mind collectively make up these stories, and they often sound similar to the tabloid articles. The problem is that we become fused with our stories, fused as in joined together as a whole. We don't step back to get a better perspective. We don't ask ourselves necessary questions about our thoughts, such as, is this thought true? Is this thought important? Is this thought helpful? Then he goes on to say, here are some little tricks to help you diffuse the thoughts and stories in your mind. His first trick says, label your thoughts. Instead of saying, I'm a loser, say, I'm having the thought that I'm a loser. Instead of saying, I'm going to blow this test. Say, I'm having the thought that I'm going to blow this test. The difference may seem subtle, but it can help you gain the perspective that you are not your thoughts. Okay? The next trick he says is thank your mind. If you're having anxious thoughts such as, I hope this plane doesn't crash, I hope the pilot knows what he's doing, say, thank you, mind. Thank you for trying to keep me safe. I hear you, but there's nothing that you really need to do right now. I've got it covered. He says, I'm big on notes to myself, so sometimes I write my mind a letter of appreciation for its efforts. But also, I let it know it can take a break. Then he says, let your negative thoughts float away. It's another trick. This one involves imagery. You put each negative thought on a leaf and imagine it floating down a stream. When you have another thought, as you will, you put it on another leaf and watch it float by. He also says, sing your thoughts. Try singing your thoughts to the alphabet song, or row, row, row your boat, or say them in a funny voice, like imitating a cartoon character. Your thoughts will certainly sound absurd this way, which is the whole point, he says. And the last one he says is, name your stories. Many times our thoughts are repetitive and involve the same stories. My story frequently is, I don't really know what I'm doing. When thoughts come up along that storyline, I can say, here's my I'm incompetent story, and then just let it go. He says it takes a little practice to get the hang of diffusion techniques, so don't give up. Many of my clients use them, and each person develops their personal favorites. I've tried all of the above except for saying my thoughts in a funny voice. I'm pretty sure it would be helpful if I could only get my mind to stop telling me how silly I'd sound. Acharya Prashant is a mystic from India. And he was asked, is the mind a beautiful servant or a dangerous master? He said, neither making your mind a servant nor a master will help you. Making the mind your friend is the only way. Our relationship with mind is usually of two kinds. Either the mind rules us or we rule the mind. There is no great difference. These two are one. The third situation is possible in which a master-slave relationship is not there. You are friends with your mind. He goes on to say, let the mind do what it wants to do, but remain present along with it. Do not leave it alone. Good friends don't leave each other, he says. At the same time, they don't try to rule each other or judge each other. Be a good friend of the mind. He's saying when relating to my mind, instead of judging and making it wrong or allowing it to think unsupervised thoughts, that I can allow it to do what it wants, but do it in front of me, okay? In front of my awareness. I'll watch what you're doing. I'm paying attention, okay? I'm taking notes. And then he says, you will discover what the mind wants, why it rushes about in such a mad way, and you will have a different knowing altogether. Watching will allow a new perspective. I found, poking around on the internet, I found this blog by Dr. Amy Johnson, who is a psychologist and a life coach. And she writes this in her article, Is Your Mind the Servant or the Master? I thought this was kind of fun. She says, you've heard the mind is a wonderful servant but terrible master, right? Or use your mind, don't let it use you. Over the past few years in my life, I've seen that these are not only cute sayings people toss around when they're trying to sound wise, they're actually true. Exploring this balance is infinitely helpful when it comes to enjoying a guided, naturally unfolding experience of life. Getting a feel for how your common sense wisdom works in tandem with your personal mind makes things oh so much easier. I just want to show you, she's got, when she talks about common sense wisdom, she's talking also about your intuition, your heart, your gut, your guidance, your hunches, feelings, insights, whatever you call those. And when she's talking about personal mind, she's talking about your intellect or logic or ego, rational thinking, brain power or knowledge. Okay, so I'm going to read you a little scenario here containing those two things, showing how they work in tandem. Okay, the way your wisdom and your personal mind can work together well might look something like this, she says. Okay, your common sense wisdom says, I'm not sure why, but I keep feeling like I might want to invite Grandma over for dinner. It's a hunch. It's not loud or urgent or emotional, just something that occurs to you. Your personal mind says, yeah, but she's probably tired or busy, or maybe she won't want to come. Your personal mind is full of opinions. It might go the other way too. Yes, why have you not done this already? Do it now. Common sense wisdom. Whoa there, relax. Reaching for the phone. Personal mind. I know her phone number. I'll dial. Let me handle this, please. Here's what we should say. Hi, Grandma. It's Amy. Common sense wisdom. Seriously? We need to rehearse a call to Grandma? Chill out. I'll give you a job if you need to feel so important. How about you look at the calendar and see what night we're free? And you can help me with the menu. I'll see what ideas show up, and then you may need to jump on Pinterest for a recipe. Ooh, the mind loves Pinterest. That's how wisdom and your mind might peacefully coexist as a team. Here's how it goes when your personal mind takes over a scenario we all know too well. Okay, so here we go. Personal mind. You are a horrible person. Call Grandma now. It's been a month. Who goes for a month without calling their grandma? Horrible people, that's who. Common sense wisdom. I don't know, just doesn't feel right at the moment. I'll wait until it occurs to me. I don't need to be bullied into action by your put-downs. Personal mind. Lazy. That's what you are. If you weren't so lazy, you'd ignore how it feels and just do it. Life is all about the choices you make, you know. What do you do in life? Action. That's what matters. Common sense wisdom. Thanks for sharing, but I'm pretty confident that it's far easier than all that stuff. Stuff shows up and I act on it when I act on it. When I don't, the world keeps turning. It's all good. Personal mind. All good, muttering under his breath, shaking his head. If I left things up to you, nothing would ever get done. Lazy, I tell you. Common sense wisdom. Have you ever considered that maybe you're the one in the way of things getting done? I mean, you do tend to get really worked up and make things pretty difficult. We make a great team, but left completely on our own, we're not so good. Your personal mind is going to want to take over. That's what minds do. Push their agenda. They are louder, pushier, and more recognizable to you than your wisdom. So it's not always easy to listen for the calmer, quieter hunches. But you can do it. It becomes quite natural when you understand that common sense wisdom is who you are. It's always there. It's always safe to follow. Your personal mind is also always there, but it's not who you are, and it's not always safe to let it take the lead. There is one simple way you can always tell if your mind is playing the supporting role it's meant to play, or whether it's taking the lead. The way you feel. Talked about that last week somewhat, didn't we? If you're suffering, your personal mind is trying to force its agenda. If you're feeling anxious, worried, sad, or frustrated, your common sense wisdom is being crowded out by the stories and opinions of your personal mind. If you are confused or in indecision, or if life feels complicated or complex, You're seeing things primarily through the filter of your own personal thinking, not through the clarity of common sense wisdom. Your personal mind tends to create static or interference when it takes charge, and you feel that static in the form of confusion. When you stop listening to your personal mind so much, the static dies down and you feel clarity and calm again. When things aren't flowing and you aren't getting hunches, wait. You will. You will feel them when your personal mind quiets down. Your personal mind quiets down on its own as you see how this works. Okay? It's quite a beautiful system we're equipped with, isn't it? The best part is that it never fails. It is a fail-proof and unbreakable. We can stand in the way when we're letting personal mind be the master. That's true. But even then, there is a self-correcting mechanism built in. You'll hit a wall or feel stress or frustration, and you'll eventually throw your hands up. When you do that, you open space for a hunch to bubble to the surface. The system has always worked this way, and it always will. It's just that most of us don't know this, so it's difficult to leverage something you don't understand. You understand it better now, and you can rely on it. Yeah, I like that, the way she talked about that. So you see the relationship that we have with ourselves. That talking back and forth, that higher mind, ego mind type of a thing. And I have benefited so much by using my loving, compassionate heart to calm my own fearful mind. And like Karen Drucker writes in her music, I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. I'll be gentle with myself. Okay? We all experience negative thoughts, especially about ourselves. So, all of these ideas call us to become aware of our thinking, okay? To be a witness to the thoughts that we're entertaining, to stay present with our own thoughts, to allow that presence within me to shine the light of my intelligence on the thoughts, and then bring my wisdom forth to make better decisions. Okay? So I think let's talk a little bit about staying present to our thinking, and how do we do that, and what does that mean? Because so much of the time we're just aren't aware of all the habitual thinking going on in our heads. We don't even recognize a lot of these thoughts, and yet they're running our lives. Okay? Eckhart Tolle says, forget about your life situation and pay attention to your life. Your life situation exists in time. Okay? In time and physical. Your life is now, in this present moment. Your life situation is mind stuff. Your life is real. And Buddha says, be where you are. Otherwise, you will miss your life. Present moment. So my intention is reflective, alert mind. And to me, this means taking time to create a thoughtful, deliberate state of careful watching over my mind, okay? Where I stand at the gate of my own consciousness on alert to strike a balance and a working relationship between my mind-generated thoughts and my innate divine wisdom. I create a friendship, an agreement that brings peace to both my mind and my heart. I go into the stillness of my mind and I meet my heart and I rest in the presence of God within me. And then I allow that presence to change me, to change my thoughts, to change my life. This for me is meditation, my highest form of communication. It is when I sit intentionally to plug into my source of all energy. Okay? I recharge, I regenerate, I rest in my source, the one source of all. I have a plaque that I've had on my wall for years, and I love it. It reads, "Make time for quiet moments as God whispers and the world is loud." So we're talking about using we're talking about using meditation. And I have just a little blurb here from Kobe Kozlowski, a life coach and yoga teacher. And he's talking about meditation. Contrary to some people's perception, meditation can be found both in flow and in stillness. Many people do not experience peace and quiet in their meditation practice, so they think that they're doing it wrong, which generates a sense of frustration and defeat. Once we embrace the notion of fluidity, we can simply practice without expectation. For some, a meditative state is experienced as movement, knitting or painting, cross-country skiing or dancing, running or doing yoga. There is no one style or approach to meditation that works for everyone. Meditation is about being intimate with life, with all of life, and serves as a way to have a better relationship with yourself and the world around you. And from the Dalai Lama, he says, "A disciplined mind leads to happiness, and an undisciplined mind leads to suffering." So I'd like to finish today sharing a short realignment exercise that I use regularly when I feel myself spiraling downward in my energy vibration caused by my own rampant thinking. So when I'm off balance, I can do this, and I have a cheat sheet here. When I feel off balance, I breathe slower and focus my attention inward and ask myself these 3 questions. What is one thing I am grateful for? What have I done right today? And what am I excited to see in the future? This is usually enough to shift my awareness from doing to being. I shift from my personal mind to my common sense wisdom without resisting my thoughts, not because I think my thoughts are the enemy, but because most of us spend far more time listening to and believing our thoughts than we do feeling the presence of God within us. I gently allow myself to feel the bigger, more expansive truth, and I let that truth bring me back to balance. Just want to share just a small passage from Joel Goldsmith in his book, A Parenthesis in Eternity. Oh, that's an old book, huh? Okay. It's under the title, The Function of the Mind. He says, when the mind is used for the purpose of knowing the truth, that truth then becomes the law of harmony unto our experience. It sets us free from every sense of limitation, physical, mental, moral, and financial. The truth that we entertain in our consciousness takes over our life, eliminating discords and inharmonies and bringing about peace, harmony, and security. So by having the intention every day to create a reflective, alert mind, I can begin to experience more peace, and I begin to see the grace of God flowing effortlessly in my life experience. Why? Because I'm looking for it. So just relax. Loosen up your shoulders, take some deep breaths. Center yourself in that heart space and be open, receptive. And I invite you to take these words as your own from Ernest Holmes. I am conscious that the life and the intelligence within me is some part of the universal spirit. Therefore, I know that my mind is one with the infinite mind. Being one with the infinite mind, it is continuously guided and directed, and all my actions are controlled by the spirit within me. I know exactly what to do in every situation. Every idea necessary to successful living is brought to my attention. The doorway to ever-increasing opportunity for self-expression is ever open before me. I am continuously meeting new and larger experiences. Every day brings some greater good. Every day brings more blessing and greater self-expression. I am prospered in everything I do. An abundance of good is mine today. There is that within me which understands the truth, which completely accepts it, which remembers freedom, expresses freedom, and anticipates freedom. There is that within me which is completely conscious of its unity with good, of its oneness with all the power there is, all the presence there is, and all the life there is. Upon this power, presence, and life, I depend with complete certainty. I have absolute inner assurance that divine intelligence guides me in everything I do. I know there is an inner presence in everyone and in everything. I know that this presence responds to me. I know that everyone is an incarnation of God, that the living spirit breathes through all. I realize that everything is alive, awake, and aware with spirit. I recognize this spirit, and it responds to me. The spirit within me reaches out and communes with the spirit in everyone and everything I contact. It is the same spirit in all, over all, and through all. I am so grateful for this knowing. I am so grateful to this spirit. I am so grateful to be alive. So it is, and so I let it be. All right. So I am going to write out the announcements or the email addresses for tithing and donations on the email today. And I just want to say how grateful we are as a community to have such a generous membership that continues to support us in so many ways, including financially. If you would like to send a tithe or a donation to the center, please look on the email, and that will give you the address of the center. It also will give you the website that you can go there and get more information about how to give using your card. You'll have to make a phone call to do that, but soon we'll be in person. So, but let's say our offering affirmation. Here it is. So together, let us say our offering affirmation. And since you're alone in your home, you can really give it some gusto, right? You can really give it some energy. I am open and receptive to all the wealth life offers me. I am open and receptive to all the wealth, the well-being life has to offer me. Okay. Also, I will put the information, the email address to send your prayers directly to Lou Kunzelman, who is a licensed practitioner of Science of Mind. You can send your prayer requests directly to there. In the email, it'll have a link. You can just push on the link, okay, and do that, or you can send them to our email address. That will be in there as well. I really encourage you to send your prayers, something challenging you. That is a way to just let go and to be able to see a higher perspective from a new perspective opens up when someone prays for you. Okay, they're praying for you to be able to see into a deeper consciousness, okay, a larger truth. Okay. Okay, we're on the repetitive affirmation. So here we go. We're going to say this 5 times. Okay. Gathering up some energy as we go. So go ahead and get crazy. I love living a balanced, harmonious life. 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 So remember, your soul is always welcome here. It's welcome here with CSL, here on this planet at this time, here in this beautiful present moment. As we center ourselves right here within our own hearts, where peace and calm reside, and we know we are all one in divine love. So spread the love. Thank you and namaste.